And by the way, who's either doing a deal or about to do a deal? Anybody? Just me and Dan? Okay, two of us. Well, you're all going to do a deal within the next 12 to 18 months, I hope. Because when I came on this course, many years ago, back in 2014, I did my first deal within 12 months. So a common scenario we have sometimes, and you'll come across this, is sometimes you have a company, and let's say, what's your name, sir?
Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Paul.
They're not interested in you, are they, Paul? You've not spent, how long have you been here, Paul? How many days have you been here?
About 6 days.
6 days? And have you been talking to everybody?
I've been talking to them.
Have you been friends with them?
I am.
Why don't they like you then?
I don't.
Okay, so let's say Paul's got a company, and it's him and his partner, husband and wife, and 2 children, and Paul gets to a stage where he wants to retire, and the company's worth a certain amount. So I want to share a live scenario with you. We've got 2 shareholders. One wanted to retire. So if he wants to, and they own a company together. So if this guy wants to retire, guy or girl, this person wants to retire, what can they do with their shares to get out? Sell them. So this is a small company where you've got 2 shareholders. Who's likely to buy this company?
Someone young.
The other shareholders.
The shareholders, that's done. But you can finish off your point.
Yeah, someone young, driven, wanting to be involved in the business.
Yeah, okay. So somebody young and driven. And is that young and driven person, do you think, going to be likely to want to work with this person here, who they may or may not know?
12 months.
Okay, and with this person here, want to allow somebody else to come into the company who they may or may not know? Probably not. So we're going to go back to what you said, Dastan, which is this person here will buy the shares. Now, the example that or the case I've just finished off, his shares were worth £200,000. Where is this person here going to get the 200 grand from? No trick questions, by the way, they're obvious questions just to get you thinking.
Borrow the money or savings?
Okay, so you can borrow money, or you can have savings. Now, let's say he hasn't got any savings because he invests all his money in property, so he hasn't got enough here to pay that. And let's say he goes to the bank, and the bank says, right now you're overgeared, so you can't borrow any money whatsoever. So where else can he get money from? And the company, let's say, makes 500 grand profit every year. So where can he get the money from? You get it from an investor, but he doesn't want an investor. What he wants to do is, so let's use this example. Let's say it's father and son. So father's looking to retire, son's taking over. Could be a daughter, by the way, but the child is taking over. They don't want anybody else to come in.
How about SAS if you've got a pension?
You could have a SAS, which we might talk about later on. And let's make it even more complicated. It doesn't have a SAS.
From the company?
I'm glad you said that. Okay, from the company. So if he takes out 500, so he needs £200,000 to pay father. How much money does he have to take out? Or how much profit does he need to make in total? Okay, because remember, this 500 grand that he's making, he's utilizing in the business, taking out dividends. So in order to take out 200 grand, how much gross profit or additional profit does he need to make? 300 grand. Okay. You sure about that?
50%.
Okay. And why did you say 50%?
Could be your tax liability and the 300 grand.
Yeah.
5%.
Okay. Should be. Okay. There's a small bit I forgot to tell you, by the way. He's a high rate taxpayer, and he earns about £145,000.
So a bit more.
So any additional money he takes out, he's going to pay a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay? Anybody else want to hazard a guess? So I'll make it really simple for you. We'll stick with your number here, just because you're not that far out. So in order to take £200,000 out, he needs to take a gross amount of about £300,000 because he's going to pay 100. And these numbers aren't exact, by the way, but we're there or thereabouts. he's going to pay £100,000 to HMRC in terms of income tax on the dividend. But to take out £300,000 from the company, he needs to make about £400,000 and pay roughly 100 grand in corporation tax. Then he's got 300 grand left over, 300 grand he takes out, 100 grand in tax, pays the father 200 grand. Is he happy about that? No. Yeah, a lot of money. So the opportunity you have, or anybody has, if you're in this particular scenario here, is what you can do is something called POOS, pools, okay? Purchase of own shares. And what this basically does is, this allows the company to buy back the shares of anybody who's looking to retire. And the basic conditions are, has to be a trading company, and we might talk about that a little bit later on because that's important in the world of property. Must own the shares for 5 years or longer. And the person exiting can't own more than 30%, okay, of the shareholding after they've shown their initial tranche. So the person leaving could give some of the shares and keep some, but they can't keep more than 30%. So what happens here is, father and son, on this previous slide here, okay, own 50 shares each, okay? So the company has 100 shares. The company buys back his 50 shares. How many shares are left in the company now? So, who's at 100? Where do you get 100 from? So we start with 100. The company buys back 50 shares. If the company buys back 50 shares, those shares are gone now, finished.
There's only 50 shares, isn't there?
There's 50 shares left.
Yeah.
Okay, so as a percentage, how much of the company does this guy now own? 100%, yeah? And in this particular scenario here, okay, the son doesn't have to pay all this tax here, 100 grand here, 100 grand here, and the company buys back the shares, and the job done. The fourth thing, by the way, the company has to have distributable reserves. That means enough profits carried forward for this to work. If not, there's another way around it, but that's something for you to bear in mind. So that's number one.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, by the way, make sure you click like, subscribe and post a comment because that tells me that you're engaging and you're finding the content useful. And if you like this video, make sure you check out this video here because it's the next stage in terms of your learning and development.